Live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I want to welcome our special guest here today. We've got Mariah Magazine, the SEO consultant, educator, teaching online business owners how to do their thing when it comes to SEO, a field that, as we all know, is changing just a little bit these days. So, welcome, Mariah. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I am so excited about this. I have been in SEO I've been in the industry for 10 years this summer, which is bananas. And I got started doing website design and development, and then SEO sunk its teeth into me. It hasn't let me go since. I've been obsessed with it. But I'm even obsessed, I'm more obsessed with educating and teaching about it because I feel like so many people in the industry like to be vague and overwhelming to try to get people to like hire their agency on retainer. I'm not an agency. I don't want to be an agency. I like to pop in, I like to pop out, and I like breaking this stuff down to help business owners and marketing teams take SEO into their own hands. That is like so important to me in order to do that. And like being able to just have conversations with other SEO experts and people that have been in the field. Like, you come from the blogging field and all of that, and like I come from that business arena. And I feel like when we can have a conversation together and kind of like bridge our genius, the entire industry benefits from that. And so I'm excited to see where we're going to go.
Woo, here we are. I see some people popping in the chat. So thank you for joining us. Please, could you tell us where you're tuning in from? I see Sharon, you asked a good question here. Let's show it on the stream. Is this being recorded? Yes, we are recording this, so you'll be able to access this anytime. If you need to pop away, come on back. You'll catch anything you've missed. But please tell us, where are you tuning in from? Where are you watching from? Mariah, where are you at today?
I am in Buffalo, New York, hanging out. It was a little chilly, a little chilly today, and so it's not ideal. It is not ideal, but we just moved back home. Me and my now husband. I got married this weekend, which is
Woo,
crazy.
congratulations.
I have a new last name. People don't talk about like how crazy it
You're not
is to.
Miss Magazine anymore?
Oh no, like that's why the business name is Magazine, but like the legal last name, nobody talks about how strange it is. I spent 32 years being somebody else. Now I have a new last name. I've never signed it before. I don't know how, I'm like learning cursive for the first time with this last name. It's so strange. So strange.
You're basically a new person, would you say?
I'm basically new, and so I get to develop who I want to be as this new human.
Mariah's Reband. Here we go.
Magazine forever, but new last name and the legalities. You know what I mean? Like the license.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I
have to get a
love
new one.
it. So good. Oh, well, I see you guys in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for joining us again, Sharon in Gilbert, Arizona. What's up? I see Simple Tech. I see you in Southeast Colorado. Nice. Thank you all for joining. And I want to preface this before we dive into our conversation here with Mariah today. I want to invite you to ask any questions you've got as related to SEO, AI. Please, please, please pop them into the chat anytime. We'll be keeping an eye on them. And we're going to make some time towards the end of our conversation here to just deal directly with your questions. So I've got some questions here that I want to ask Maria. Mariah, we're going to be doing a little bit of show and tell here as well. And then please ask your questions. There's no wrong time. Pop them into the chat as soon as you've got them. Mariah, anything you want to add or plug before we dive in for today?
I don't think so. I think that it's important to remember that like SEO is changing right before our eyes. And so, us as experts, we're kind of like, we don't have all of the answers, but it is, I think, a little easier for us to be able to notice the gaps and notice the patterns and be able to make decisions for things. So, just know that, like, a lot of this is basically what we're noticing. We're learning it with you. We just have maybe a little deeper of a foundation that we're building on, but like we are creating the internet like as users, like we are on the front end of things using this stuff. And so I think that it's a fun time. I'm really optimistic about it. I do know a lot of people that aren't as optimistic about it as I am, but I'm excited for it.
I am too. I'm always, maybe one of my sins is being perpetually optimistic, but I think this is always going to be a field that ends up creating new opportunities in the face of this change. And speaking of change, I want to look at something. We're going to do a little show and tell to get us started here today. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's make sure we're sharing the right one. Here we go. So, Mariah, I want to get your reaction here in doing a Google search for what was once one of my best keyword phrases, what I ranked #1 for at the top of Google search for many years. We're going to say how to start a blog. And I want to just quickly scroll through this, take some notes here. We've got sort of the AI overview up top with some steps. You can expand it. We've got these resources over here that are being cited. We've got some images, a featured snippet type thing. And then we've got a video. And below that, we've got 4 ads. And then we've got some organic results that end up getting stuffed with some more ads and then some Reddit, some video, etc. Now, I want to compare this real quick to what we see when we type this in, how to start a blog, into Google's new AI mode. And I should say, before we dive into your live reaction here, AI mode is what many people, including perhaps Google, what they've alluded to at their I/O event recently, will replace the original search experience. So the hypothesis is that this, a little more ChatGPT-esque of a search experience, will probably become the default on Google at some point. So what do you think about that? And then also would love just your comparison of these 2 different types of results here.
I think from a user perspective, I'm glad that traditional search is changing a little bit. The old way of kind of doing it was a little archaic. Especially for very specific keywords that like I don't need to go too deep in the weeds with. Like the example that I always give is, and this is like from my real life, okay? Like this is embarrassing, but I never remember how long it takes to boil an egg. And so I will go to Google, and if you look at my search history, I've Googled this, I don't know, like once a month for the past 12 months because I can never remember. And so when I go to Google and I type in how to boil an egg, I used to have to find a recipe blogger, scroll through where she got her eggs, her going to the farmer's market. Respectfully, probably a very nice person. I didn't really care. I just wanted to know how long it took to boil an egg. And so the fact that I had to scroll through things, I was like, I wish that there was something that just told me. And some people are like, well, like, because that's what AI is doing. It's basically just like regurgitating and will just tell you. It will just tell you that really quick fact type thing. That's all I needed. And people are like, well, now I'm not getting clicks over to my recipe blog. And I'm like, but I was never going to convert. I was never going to sign up for your ebook. I was never going to download a little thingy that you have. I just wanted the answer to something. So I feel like when it comes to very specific things that I just need an answer, or like me and my husband actually just Googled the other day, like, how old is Will Smith? Like, I just want to know the answer.
Trick question. He doesn't age, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. And I don't remember how old he is, so I would have to Google it again. But I don't need a blog post on that. I just need an answer. And so the new way of the AI overviews that we've been able to kind of like play around with for a while, I do think that it's wildly helpful for so many things. I also think that it's very vague and lacks personality and makes me actually want to find experts in the field even more, because AI is kind of just regurgitated bullshit half the time.
I wanted to get your take on the difference between what we can call a SERP, I suppose. This SERP, which is kind of the traditional Google model, right? It's changed, it's evolved over the years, but it's pretty much the same as it's been for a very, very long time, 15, 20 years probably or more. And then we've got this model. And I would just love What's your quick reaction based on the specifics of these two different SERPs here?
Okay, so we have to keep in mind that I am coming from a researcher's mind. When I am
Mhm.
looking for things, you can call me Mariah Research Magazine. Like, I am deep in the depths. Like, I need to click around and whatever. This AI mode isn't deep enough for me. It's like a very quick overview if I just needed like a what is a blog and how to create it, but like it's not deep enough. It's kind of just the
Mhm.
surface level stuff. And so to me, I think that this is going to evolve, and I think that that's what we have to keep in mind is that these tools, these platforms are evolving how we as users use them. This is not going to be the final rendition of AI mode. I want to see YouTube videos pulled in here. I actually like what they were doing, pulling in Reddit threads, like more
Mhm.
community answered things. And I think that this is going to actually end up being a little bit more of a mix between them, especially on the right hand side here. You see it's mainly like blog posts and stuff like that, but as a user I want to see Reddit threads, I want to see YouTube
Yeah.
videos, and like there isn't really that multimedia content there.
It
um
lacks the video results, which I actually think is such a huge miss for something like this because if their AI behind the scenes was properly understanding the intent here, I think it would get that video is a super important medium for this type of result.
yeah, so I think that it's interesting and I understand what they're doing, but can we show people that you can click on the tab all at the top of AI mode? And then you can end
Yes.
up going back
There we
over
go.
to that original. So that's important for people
Mhm.
to know is that AI mode eventually, I don't think that it's happening within the next few months because they're just starting to roll it out just with free Google plans. I can't even access AI mode with my paid plan yet, like with my
Yeah.
paid Gmail plan that I use for business. And so it's going to take a while for them to kind of roll this out, but it is interesting. We're having the all tabs right there, and you can see videos,
Mhm.
images, short videos, I'm pretty sure are pulling from social media platforms. It's going to be interesting to me. Oh, look, there's
Yeah.
literally your face.
Here we all are. Here's everyone. All the classics.
Yeah, for real. But like, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But like, at a first glance, this AI mode feels like a beginner blog post.
Yes. This feels like the Chat GPT summary, literally, of how, which is not useful, mind you. And there aren't internal links, right? Like there's nothing that says, here's a link to a resource to learn more about the defining a niche process. And that's a huge bummer because if this were effectively a blog post, you would want to see links in here where I could go learn more about each specific aspect and maybe it opens in a new tab or something. So
Yes.
I think what we're looking at is like version 0. It's not even version 1 yet.
0.1. I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think when you compare them?
You know what really find fascinating about this is like the difference between these two SERPs here. So for the longest time, probably like 4 or 5 years, I used to rank #1 for how to start a blog. I was publishing income reports about this and showing basically the direct connection between holding this really valuable, top ranking keyword spot and the earning 50 to 60,000 a month from affiliate commissions just on that post. And lo and behold, it got a hell of a lot more competitive by people that were investing, brands that were investing millions of dollars in ranking there too. So I float around page 1 these days, right? But what I look at is I look at the difference in business model that's required between this search experience, which we've had a long time to figure out how to game and play with and like be strategic about it, not trick it, but like do well with this. And this is a totally new experience, which means there's going to have to be a shift in business model that's either figured out and or probably a combination of doing all the fundamentals the right way anyway from what we consider to be SEO best practices and then also some new stuff that's going to be coming. So I find it fascinating. I think it's interesting. there's a small part of me that's sort of like, I wish things were the old way. But then, it's way more interesting to have new challenges. So I'm having fun with this. Like, this forced me essentially to adapt my business model. And like, I've been doing well with that with Right Blogger and changes I've made to Rob and my blog and whatnot. But I think not everyone will do as well navigating these changes. So, where do you think this leaves your average, say, small business owner who has a website and they book, say, clients or they sell products from their website? Where does this leave them now?
I don't think that it leaves them out in the dust like everybody is assuming. I think if you are blogging and you are making most of your money blogging and you are relying on AdSense, I think it's over. I think it's over. It's no longer about quantity. It's about quality. For business owners with AI mode, we can have a conversation and AI picks up on nuances and patterns. And I think that the leads that we're going to get are going to convert way better.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer like if I'm a bookkeeper, which I am not, this is an awful example. I hate bookkeeping. I respect bookkeepers so much. But if I was a bookkeeper, I no longer have to worry about showing up for bookkeeper for business owners. Now I can be like, no, I'm a bookkeeper for creative small business owners in the online space that use QuickBooks. And so people that are going to type that in, because like with AI mode and stuff like that, you're going to be able to have a conversation. And so it's going to show you, if you just search like bookkeepers for small business owners, you're going to see the results and be like, no, for creative small business owners. And you're going to see the results and be like, no, for like ones that use QuickBooks. And then it's like going to show you a very specific person. Now that person is going to be way more likely to convert. So like even me as a shopper, if I'm looking for black high heel shoes, no, not those, I want flats. Or like, no,
Mm-hmm.
not those, I want closed toe. Now, when I find it, I am going to be way more likely to convert. And I think as users, it's going to be interesting because I saw this thread the other day and I giggled about it because somebody was like, I literally saw three major brands have the exact same Memorial Day caption on their Instagram post. The exact same one because people don't realize like when you're using AI to create your content and generate things, it's being trained on everybody else's content. Not everybody else's content is good. So now you're just hitting mediocre the entire way. And so then your stuff, if you don't train it properly, your stuff is just going to be regurgitated. You think you're the only one getting that Memorial Day caption? It sent that shit out to like hundreds of thousands of people. And so now these brands look like dummies because they have the same caption as like three other people in their field. And I think as users, we're going to notice that. We're going to be less attracted to that. We're going to be more attracted to perspective and tone and like our unique positioning. So it's like me, I do SEO. I don't do SEO for everybody. If you want SEO for major corporations or blah, 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 I'm not it. You want an SEO agency done for you. I'm not it. But those people, if I was showing up for SEO consultant on page one, they would come over and then they would have to check out my website to figure out if I'm a good fit, which I wasn't a good fit for a lot of them. They would go back to
Mm-hmm.
search results and find somebody that was. And so we're leaving out the context and the nuance that our website is. I just think that like websites, and I posted this on Threads, but like your website is there to train AI about your business. It is the training guide to train these AI searches about your business. So create content and pages accordingly. How do you want these things to be trained on your business? And I think that like as users, we're going to crave specific individual options so much more because everything's just going to sound like regurgitated bullshit.
I could not agree more. Which I actually think this leads me to the next thing I want to talk about with you. So, does this type of change in search that we just looked at here, does this mean that video is more or less or the same amount of importance as it was, say, 2 weeks ago? Anything change?
For me, no. I'm also I don't want to say a late adopter. I don't jump on the hype trains. I don't. I let everybody else jump on the hype train. You guys figure it out. You let me know, then I take it, sift it through, and I'll come back and like put my own spin on things. But like as of right now, no, because like I have YouTube. YouTube is a search engine. YouTube is still pulling people over to me. I do think eventually that like the AI models and all of that, and even now, even with like AI mode and stuff like that, I do think that video has been a thing where it's like multimedia answering the question in different ways and in different formats. So like from 2 weeks ago to today, no. From 4 years ago until today, yes. In a couple months, maybe. But like I think that video moving forward is just going to become more important because people are still going to want to learn via video. It all depends on the context of the keyword, always. And like, in my opinion, that's why the old way of doing SEO is dead, because they didn't look at the context and the nuance of the keyword. You can't bullshit SEO anymore. And like people are like, SEO is dead. No, it's not. If you think that SEO is dead, you don't understand the internet. SEO predates Google. SEO is getting found in a search engine, whether that's AI or whether that's Google or Amazon or eBay or Etsy, like those things still matter. And so I think that people are getting too caught up in the old way of doing SEO that hasn't been working regardless. And I do have a bone to pick with Google in terms of like how shitty their link attributions are from a user perspective and a content creator perspective. So it's going to be interesting. If they don't figure it out, they're going to get sued.
Yeah, what does that look like? So let's say they roll this out everywhere. Is it like a litany of lawsuit? What do you think happens?
I would assume that creators, huge publishers, think about it, New York Times, massive, massive publications are going to be like, you figure this out or you're not crawling my site and now your AI is not getting trained on anything. So I think it's going to have to be the big dog publishers that push this forward, that have more money than we do. I think it could also lead to more paid communities. Yeah. So it's now you have to pay to be on my newsletter to learn. Now you have to pay to be in my community to learn. People aren't going to create content as freely anymore. And so it's going to be
so interesting.
It's going
because the foundation of the internet is cool people sharing their knowledge with others.
But think about it. If I'm just now like creating training documents for Google to give a shittier summary, in my opinion, and sometimes not even correct. Like I was using AI the other day and I was like, oh, like I have to beef up this, or I have to like update this one article about Squarespace SEO. And AI was like, download Yoast. I was like,
which is incorrect.
I was like, you can't use Yoast on Squarespace, you silly goose. Like, what are you doing? And so it's going to be interesting to notice how things happen and how us as users use things. Because then I was messing around with AI mode the other day and I was mad that it wasn't linking to things. I'm like, I want to go deeper into this. I want to find the person. I would keep literally responding to AI until it gave me a list of people. And then half the time the people weren't accurate.
That's a funny one right there. We were just doing, I'm going to share my screen again because I think this was such a great example. Before we went live, we were just sharing an example that you did. Was it public speaking coaches? I want to do the exact same search.
Yes. Yeah. So go to AI mode and go to, which the user experience of this.
I know you can't even, you have to know the exact URL to navigate there. It's funny.
So yeah, type in public speaking coach.
Public speaking coach.
And so I'm typing this in hypothetically, like I want to hire somebody. It's giving me an overview. What do they do? I already know benefits of working with
benefits. Them. This is the worst generic blog post.
It's like, no shit. How to find one? Oh, websites. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Ask colleagues. I don't have any colleagues that are public speakers. I would have asked them. Like, not helpful to me.
And even these like sources, let's say it only chose 7 sources, by the way, but they're all content. None of them are actual coaches necessarily. I mean, maybe some of these people are, but it's picking up their content, not like them as a hireable person.
Which is interesting. Hold on. Let me go on a tangent really here. So basically, what is me and Tamiko Harvey just went live on my YouTube earlier today, actually, talking about AI and SEO. And she was able to go to the Google Business Summit. She was one of 7 creators that kind of came in there. And she went on my channel to give us like the tea of like what she learned essentially. And if we can link to that YouTube live, to have people
Yeah,
go in and watch
we'll
it,
throw it in the description.
it was so, so helpful. But basically, she was like, even Google is starting to recommend, like, you need to be active on social media somewhere because, and this is kind of my verbiage based on what I learned from her, but essentially, domain authority used to be like a top ranking factor. It is no longer the biggest ranking factor like backlinks and all of that. Now it's becoming brand authority. Are you showing up? Like, how is your website? Is it trustable? Is it searchable? All of the core SEO basics that we've been implementing. Hopefully, people have been implementing these. And so, like, training and like setting up your website in a way that makes sense. But also, what's coming into play, and we can see right here, is your social media profiles. So it's, are you taking your content and repurposing it for other platforms so people can find you? That way, Google can basically be like, hey, Mariah is an expert in SEO. Here's all of this. Here's all of this. Check out this social media thing and over there. And so brand visibility and brand authority is becoming really, really important. And if you want to pull that screen back up, and like that's where we can see right from LinkedIn right there is, it seems like there might be some thought leaders that are talking about public
Right.
speaking, and so their posts are coming up. But right now, like
Right.
that's helpful kind of, but like right now not helpful. So if we want to hire a public speaking coach, like what, I already know what they're going to do for me. And that's from 2023. So to me, I'm just like, y'all ain't got nothing. Yeah, so I literally typed in, I want to hire one.
Oh, this is interesting. We actually get some potentials here.
That's
Interesting. So
that's
I
better.
phrased my question differently than you did, which also
Yes.
highlights such an interesting AI thing here.
So that actually is a little bit more helpful. Can I share my screen and show you what I got?
Yeah, which is wild that yours is different.
Mine's different.
Slight,
So,
like 2 words differently in how we questioned the
so
AI.
mine, I typed in, I want to hire one. Okay, great.
Mhm.
And it gives me define my needs and goals. Bro, I already know, like, what? I already know that. So then this is where it made me kind of like, LOL, local options. It wants me to Google search public speaking coaches near me. Like, I'm trying to Google search. Like, you're keeping me in a
Press
loop
the back
here.
button, go to our other
Yeah.
product, and type the same thing.
Yes. And like, this isn't helpful. Toastmat, like, no, I want a coach. This isn't helpful. No, I'm not going to college. I want a coach. So to me, it's like this was not really that helpful. And then when I went down here, schedule consultation, I didn't ask for information on how to hire one. I said that I want to.
Mhm.
So then we have example coaches near West Seneca, which is where I am. This is what made me LOL. This is a speech pathologist.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Wow.
I said I wanted to hire a public speaking coach. And so then if we come down here, Amanda is a life coach. That's not
Yeah.
who I
She
want to
would not
hire
be excited
either.
about a bunch of inquiries for public speaking.
Yes. And so it's really interesting to me because, like, that was annoying
Yeah.
instead of as helpful as I would have hoped that it would have been.
But arguably, and this is what I think is super interesting, arguably, even normal Google search results for this exact search, let's just do it. Like, let's say public speaking coaches. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this search is probably not that great either. We've got one organic
You
ranking, which
you
this is a
have one,
pretty,
right? That's pretty solid.
this is a killer ranking. Like, that's a decent experience. A Reddit thread,
I
which
like the Reddit
might be
thread of
great.
like
Community
suggestions from the
sourced.
community. Yep, I love that.
And then we've got the Google Maps pack for like LA, which makes sense. I like that. Um, and then Thumbtack, okay. This is definitely a better experience than AI mode for me.
Elite speech coaching, even that, like maybe the speech coach, like this is hitting the
Yeah,
intent more.
interesting. Elevate your speaking. I guess so. Enhance your communication skills. So, yeah, this is interesting. I mean, I think Google's previous version or current version of search still does a little bit better of a job at handling the intent. Like, there's a lot of assumptions that are made by AI when it comes to intent that are not as good as what I think Google's search algorithm has done a better job of understanding intent than AI currently can.
And so that's why I think as a user, we forget that we are shaping the edge of the internet. We are shaping AI mode. It's only going to get better.
Yeah,
They put so much
we are
money
the
into this.
product.
We are the product. And that's horrifying and also kind of cool sometimes. You know what I mean? But like, it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves and how it learns. I just hope that we figure out ways to give creatives and content creators credit for where AI is stealing the information. And I think that as users, we're going to become smarter searchers, which is then only going to have to make the algorithm continue to evolve because that's what's happening. That's why AI overviews and like that's why they started pulling in Reddit threads and YouTube because the old way of doing it with just the blue links was not helpful anymore. And so I do think that there's like different things that we have to juggle and some of it is a little annoying, but I think that as a user, it is cool to be able to be a little bit more nuanced and have a conversation and still be able to find examples and then tell AI that it was wrong. I could not go to Google and be like,
Mhm.
no, you're wrong. That's not a public speaking coach. Google would be like, no results for that. We've hit the edge of the internet.
I want to ask a question right now that just popped up in the chat a few minutes ago. It's from Aaron. It's very relevant to what we were just talking about. With more people navigating to Google AI mode in the future, right? How will Google's AI decide which brands, services, and such to recommend over others in that AI mode experience?
I
Like,
think
what are
it's
some of those decision factors?
I think it's going to be brand authority. Are you an expert in the field? Because think about it. Google is a business. ChatGPT is a business. Like they want to serve their users the best solution to the problem. They want you to be happy with the experience of their tool because there's different options on the market now. So I think that what's going to matter more is brand authority, which is why your social media profiles come in. The AI bots are trying to see, is Mariah an expert or is she bullshitting with just one blog post about this?
Yeah.
Has she been in the field for a while? Does her website back this up? How long has her website been a thing? Is she showing up on YouTube? Does she have similar posts on this topic on LinkedIn? Like, does her entire digital footprint back up the fact that she is an expert and she is an authority in this? Because that's who I think that they want to recommend. And that's what I mean when I say it's going to be harder to bullshit. You're gonna have to create a digital footprint in a way that's strategic, in a way that showcases that you actually understand your audience, which a lot of people don't.
I was gonna say what I like most about that, and I'm with you here. Like brand authority, whatever that means, I think is open
Mm-hmm.
to kind of a continual sort of evolving answer. But this is something you actually can't fake, or at least not easily. Like it would be so much effort to fake brand authority online that you might as well just develop brand authority in whatever it
Yeah,
is
truly.
that you're talking about and the field you're working in. And that's going to also inform on like, hey, maybe you shouldn't start a business about something that you don't care about if you can't bring yourself to making a video about these topics and sharing on your social accounts regularly And I think it's interesting what that means, especially because I think you're right about your social profiles becoming a way bigger piece in the authority puzzle, let's say.
And like, thank
Um,
God, because I had to fucking build them anyways.
right, exactly. They were always important, especially as a social signal to people who are going to be paying you for a product or service. So arguably it's coming into alignment with that. That's fascinating, actually.
That's why I feel like the internet is finally coming together in a way that might make sense for the user a little bit more, to make it less having to jump through different hoops in
Yeah.
order
Like
to
going
find
to a
things.
recipe blog post, you land there, you got to scroll down to the recipe pack, read their story about going to a Tuscan village and being inspired by the wheat breeze blowing in the
Yes.
breeze. Yeah, no, I think that's done.
And so it's going to be interesting. Um yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But like I said, like, as users, we're impacting it. So I feel like if people are feeling overwhelmed, go and play with it. If you have access to it now, go and play with, like, even just the AI overview in Google, because they're essentially just taking that and like making it the whole thing. But it's like, play with it, see where it's pulling from, see as a user what's helpful for you. Notice if you click on somebody's website, what made you click? What are you
Mhm.
searching for that's driving clicks? Like, how are you searching for different solutions? And like, what is your experience here? That's all SEO people do. That's all we do. We see what's happening and we work backwards from there. We find the patterns, we find the gaps, and we fill in the gaps. But to think that AI is going to solve all of our problems doesn't make any sense. I
Yeah.
think that AI is going to be a tool that we use in order to find the services and the products that we want in a way that maybe feels more streamlined. Like, I have a client, we just wrapped up her SEO foundational setup on her website. Literally within 2 weeks, she messaged me and she was like, yo, ChatGPT has recommended me like a ton of different times. I've gotten 4 clients from it already. And I was like, because we created the website that aligned with the right keywords that people are typing in, and we created your website in a way that makes sense, to where we trained the AI model that, yes, you are the perfect solution to the problem. So, like, this SEO foundation stuff that we've all been doing, if you've been doing it correctly, is only going to help everything else moving forward.
I love that. And so, your advice to someone who's watching this right now who wants to replicate the same thing you just did with one of your clients here, redoing the structure, the copy, perhaps the pages, the content, the way that you're positioning yourself from your website. What are some of those most important things if you were to pick out a few like actionable stuff you guys did together?
Yeah, know your people. In order to figure out the keywords, you have to know what they're typing in. Know your people, know what problem you solve, and build your website in a way that's so clear that you solve that problem, that like it's clarity, it's clear over creative. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like creative like that, but it's clear over clever.
Yes.
Always, because like intent matters. And like, even with AI, you saw that, like, I literally said public speaking coach, and then I said I want to hire one. I didn't
Mhm.
go, I want to become an executive public speaker. That, like, I'm not talking like that. I think that we forget how literal SEO is. And so you have to have a conversation with your people. You have to know your people, and you have to create
Mhm.
content that backs that up. And so, like, the pages on your site that you create, they have to be the best solution to the problem. So, like, a lot of the time I'll see website designers lumping all of their client services onto one page. That's
Oof,
not
that's
helpful.
rough.
That's not helpful. And so, if we go back to ChatGPT and Google being a business, they want to showcase the best solution to the problem. You
Mhm.
having one service page with like little tiny sentences about each service, AI, Google is going to be like, you ain't the best solution to the problem. I don't even know what you do.
You're not even trying.
You ain't even trying. So, like, we can't show up in Google because we want to. We have to prove it. We have to give something that users are going to find and read. And we forget that, like, when you are building content online, people can't walk into your store, shake your hand, get to know you, feel your vibes, love you, have a conversation with you. They're literally finding your website and you are a stranger to them. And we have to turn
Yeah.
them from stranger to client. So we need trust factors. We need testimonials and reviews. You have to be using the right words, the right messaging. The pages have to make sense. Your website has to give them a good experience so that they go, I can't not hire this person. And so, like, I know that that's a little bit more than like a couple bullet points, but like, you really have to know who your people are, what problem you solve, and what people are going to type in order to find that. SEO
Mhm.
keywords are still relevant, they still matter. It's how these AI bots are essentially finding the patterns and filling the gaps and trying to figure out what the heck your website's about.
SEO is not dead. This is just the next interesting evolution, I think. Like, this to me tells me that SEO, from the perspective of doing all the best practices on your website and promoting yourself on social media, writing guest posts, having publication columns, being mentioned in the press, like, if that's what we call, that's what I consider to be SEO. I don't think that's dead. I think this is just the next like reinvention of the cycle.
Yeah, that's it. Because where is AI pulling from right now? It's pulling from
Yeah,
what it learned on
exactly.
the internet. Where did it learn things on the internet? From crawling the internet, having things be findable, taking a look at the words that people are using on websites. Websites have always been training manuals for the algorithm to be able to put you into the filing cabinet accordingly. The mode in which we do this is just different.
Yeah. Some of your examples here, you made me think of a friend of mine, Aaron in Florida, who runs a travel planning agency, and he has a really cool defined niche. Like, he's done a good job of figuring out who his people are, right? Lots of bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, people that want to do like destination trips with a small crew of friends, basically.
Okay,
And
cool.
for him, I feel like this is such a good development because it allows him to be ultra laser focused on that crowd, and probably by focusing even more on this like really specific niche on age range, gender, etc., I think he can be recommended in AI more frequently too, would be my guess. How does that sound?
That would be my guess too. Because if these AI chats know more about you, what you care about, it's going to tailor the results based on it. And so people, I was in a conversation earlier with somebody in the Instagram DMs, and they were like, I'm nervous that Google is going to silence independent voices.
Hmm.
And I said, that's interesting. And if they don't give credit to things, yes, they will. But to me, I think that it opens the door for independent voices. The old blue links were silencing them. The old blue links were like regurgitations of each other. But
Yeah,
but
and a lot of
now,
that authority from the blue links was from sites that happened to have been around for 15 years or something too.
yes, and now these AI bots, they're going to know if I'm looking for a Thai restaurant, they're going to know that I eat gluten-free and dairy-free. So now they're going to try to find me ones that say gluten-free options on their website and recommend that to me. So is that not shining the spotlight on more independent things? But I also think as users, if we don't get what we're looking for, we're going to go to social media
Yeah.
and we're going to try to find communities.
Yeah. What does that mean for, is it a good opportunity right now as a creator or as someone who's building your personal brand around what it is you do, your niche? Is it a good time to start making these communities?
I would say, yeah. We're so alone. We're so
Hey,
alone.
speak to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm alone. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like we're so siloed. We're all craving community. Create like craving just having in-depth conversations with people that get it, that are interested in the same things that we are. I
Yeah.
think, yes, if you really truly give a shit about what you're doing, create a community of people or join somebody else's. I don't even think that you necessarily have to create the community. But like we're creating our reality and like our experience. And so it's like take note, you're not the only one that's craving that in your field. Like I don't kayak very often, but if I was in like a kayaker all the time, I'd be like, yo, I'm trying to find like maybe some small business owners that like to kayak because I want to talk about business as I'm paddling and trying to like work out my back a little bit and like see some sights. You know what I mean? But like that could be a very niche community. But think of how great that community could be. So it's just like, I know that that was like a really weird example, but
I like that.
I just feel like
SEO kayakers. How about
S-
that one?
SEO kayakers in Buffalo, New York, hanging out. No,
You would be the top chat GPT suggestion for that.
and I would get recommended all of the time. But I think that collaborations are going to become important. Collaborate with your people. Like, we don't have to do this alone. We're creating the internet. And I think that we forget about that.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So we got another really good question here from Emmanuel. I'll pull it up on the screen for everyone. So the work of web designers for small local businesses with SEO is promising for the future of AI.
So the work,
What's your take on this? Is the work of web designers for small businesses, is that a promising field? I think is the question.
yeah, because everybody wants to get the fuck on the internet. Everybody wants to get
Yeah.
online. And so okay, I have grown my business online for the past 10 years. I recently just moved back home to Buffalo, New York. I started local networking with like the local community. And I was so surprised at how little the local community understands the internet.
Hmm.
A lot of them were like, wait, I need a website?
Oh boy.
Wait, I just have all of my things on Linktree.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm trying to create, like, I'm just creating PDFs on Canva. I'm like, what?
Yeah, my rant about this too. So for you, Emmanuel, I think the way you frame what a website is for a business is it's their homepage on the internet. It's your home. It's
It's
your
your
home base.
training manual
Yes.
for AI. That's my new phrase. It's just
I
like,
love that.
it's your
Your
training
website
manual.
is now a training manual for AI. So what needs to be in it in order to really effectively show you to the exact right types of customers? And I actually think what's really cool about this direction of AI mode in search here is that it's going to be way more oriented around getting the right customer to your website rather than just vanity traffic, sites that would generate, let's say, 100,000 readers a month just to their sales glossary of all the terms you need to know about sales. And arguably, that was never earned traffic anyway. Like, that was never people who were going to convert. So I think as long as you're doing these fundamentals and training the AI on who you are, what you're about, what you're great at, and why, then you will sort of naturally do this new version of SEO.
Yes. And yeah, I think that we forget how skilled we are because we're in the field. But like I have conversations with my husband and he literally does not understand the internet. I can whip up a website probably similar to a manual where it's like I can whip up a website in like a couple hours. I'm not saying it's going to be a good website, but like I can whip something up where it would take him 6 months to even figure out what
Right.
Squarespace was. You know what I mean? Like, we forget how many skills we accumulate in this online space, and we think that everybody understands the internet like we do, and that is not true. Every time I have conversations with my family, with my friends in real life, they're literally like, what do you do on the internet?
Hmm.
Where it's like SEO in the online space, everybody's like, oh yeah, I know what that means. The local business owner, like the networking group that I went to, they literally were like, what does SEO mean? I was like,
Exactly.
I was like,
Honestly, a lot of
oh.
my friends would ask me the same question too.
So yes, I think that it's needed.
Yes.
100% more people that use AI, the more times we're going to get the question, how can I get AI to recommend me? And then you go,
Mhm.
"Oh, I have the perfect solution for you. Create a website that makes sense for your
Love that.
people."
Homebase Online. Plus, you get to create an email newsletter from something like a website. Your newsletter can kind of live there. And when you own the communication channel directly into someone's email inbox, that's one of the better sort of attention places to be in someone's world. If you get into SMS messaging at some point, like do that very carefully, thoughtfully with a strategic plan. I think be very mindful about how you plan to do that. Otherwise, you will piss people off quite easily, but it can be a really good channel for like building intimate relationships depending on what you do. Do you think this makes SMS marketing any different than it was, years ago?
No, I think it's the same. I SMS marketing is helpful for things that I want to keep updated on. I do think that like with any form of marketing, you have to be creative with it. My new favorite thing for SMS marketing, I'm on like a couple local pizza and wing places. I'm on their list.
Nice.
And once a month they do a lottery. And so they say, text me a number 1 out of 100. And if you get it right, you get like a $20 off coupon. So every
Oh,
month,
that's
I'm like, oh
so
my God, I
fun.
love this pizza. I'm literally bragging to everybody about it. I'm just like, this is so fun. I can win the lottery. So
Wow.
if you're
That's
creative
great.
with this
That's creative.
stuff, it's so helpful. I feel like I'm playing a game. I've played that game with my email newsletter. I was like, we're going to play a
Mhm.
guessing game. Guess the number 1 to 100. However many people get it right, I will do that many one-to-one SEO consulting sessions. I did it last time. I had over 100 people guess. One person got it right.
Ooh,
But it was great for my email deliverability because I had
for sure.
over 100 people replying to me.
I love that. That's such a cool experiment. I think that's one I'm gonna have to try replicating in some way too. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's like, so I feel like you could ask with anything, right? Like, marketing is
Yeah.
changing, Instagram is dead, the SEO is
Mhm.
dead, blogging, everything's dead, everything's dying and like reforming. You just have to get creative. When everybody's zigging, you gotta zag.
Speaking of which, what outdated SEO advice are you seeing these days that people need to either stop following or think about changing?
Yeah, creating like 5,000 word blog posts. It was one that just doesn't work anymore. It's fluffy. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't solve the problem. If you are creating an ultimate guide, it has to be like no bullshit, straight up, like give the facts, stop burying the lead, where it's like after 1,000 words, then you give the answer. Don't care. Also, creating, okay, keep this in mind that I come from the business SEO world and not the blogging SEO world. And so my business owner friends and my clients and my students are like, I have to create a blog post every week. No, you're not a blogger. You're a business owner that is creating searchable resources on your blog. You are
Hmm.
not just creating content to stay fresh. That's such bullshit that like we know that Google likes fresh content, but we leave out the context. Google actually has
Yeah.
stated that just means that your website has to be like updated in the past year.
Yeah, which is not crazy. Like it would be worse, in my opinion, to publish a bunch of really bad content than it would be to publish one good thing a month, even. And
Yep.
I think this is what we've seen with a lot of people who tried to run crazy AI site experiments where let's publish 1,000 posts a month
Oh,
and
you
see
saw
like
those
how much traffic
experiments
we
too?
can
I was
get.
like, "Oh, don't do it. Don't do it."
I know. I hope people didn't do it on like established important domains that ran their business and likely have seen some bad results as a side effect. It's not great.
I saw somebody's experiment where he generated, I think, over 100 AI blog posts. His traffic like skyrocketed at first and then
Mhm.
tanked, and he basically got like blacklisted from Google. I have another friend who ran an experiment. She bought a bunch of backlinks
Mhm.
to increase her domain authority. It worked, completely tanked, can't get the traffic back.
And it might be irreparable damage you do too. Like there's
Yeah.
no recovering from these things.
So that's why I say, like, you can't bullshit it anymore. Are
Yeah.
you the best solution to the problem?
I love that. That's so good. How are you personally making changes, if at all, in what you do internally for marketing your business? Like, where is your energy going right now?
YouTube. I love YouTube. It's my baby. I like creating videos. I think for YouTube, like I usually create a video every other week. But lately, I think I'm going to start in the past this month and then the previous month, I've done interviews with other SEO experts on my channel, like YouTube Lives. I'm kind of becoming obsessed with it, maybe doing it monthly. So I think maybe doing more lives on my channel feel really fun. It's really easy to just come on and like have a conversation with people in my industry. I think that a lot of people in our industry don't want to show their audience another expert because they're afraid that like they're going to take their audience a little bit. Um and like,
Interesting.
because it's like, if I'm an agency and you're an agency and we're having conversations, why would I want to showcase you, another SEO agency, when like I'm trying to get all the clients? And like, on one end, I mean, I kind of understand it, but to me, I just see it as more of like we're bettering the industry by having these conversations. We're bettering our own knowledge, and like whoever's gravitating towards us is going to gravitate towards us. And so I just think that like the open dialogue feels really fun, really easy. I have the channel there already. Why not use it in a way that feels a little bit more fun? So I feel like doubling down on YouTube, and what I've been doing, you've been yelling at me about this for a while. I'm starting to take my YouTube videos and turn them into blog posts.
Yes. I mean, I actually think this is another, like, this comes full circle with the authority piece. Like, this is another puzzle piece in the authority overall puzzle, is having content, written content on your site too, that reflects the authority you're putting on your social accounts. Like, why not? Especially when it's a handful of clicks away with AI.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. I have been finding a lot of people are doubling down on blogging in the business world. A lot of people are like, I am craving somewhere to create long form content. And so that's interesting to me. I'm finding that like I'm like, shit, I wish that I just had like a written version of this that I could send out.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting, it's coming back full circle because I got into SEO doing blog posts. Then I transitioned into YouTube, and so I stopped doing blog posts. Now I'm kind of like walking that happy middle ground a little bit more. Not all of my YouTube videos are going to make it over into the blog, but I like creating, and I'm excited about creating more of a body of work that lives on my site.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's super important. I also think, like, as we move into this new era of, let's say, brand preference in search results and in AI results, I think using the tools at your disposal to repurpose content and to schedule your social post, like, create whatever source material feels easiest and most enjoyable to you. To me, I think video is the best source material to creating, because you can just quickly even do super raw stuff like selfie style. Just turn on your camera, talk about your take about something, and then boom, you can turn that video into your blog post. You can write a LinkedIn post from it. You can post on Threads, Instagram, all kind of at the same time now, and with so much less effort than ever before. So I think, I mean, I feel optimistic about this.
So do I. I feel like it's all changing, but it was gonna change. Everything's always changing. So, I mean, there's pros and cons either way. I'm just choosing to look at it through the lens of opportunity. I do think that if you're a blogger and you're making your money just from AdSense, if you haven't gotten hit already, you're going to get hit. You have to sell something. I
Hmm.
think you have to sell services, products, coaching, courses, like something. Digital downloads, like having just your money come from creating blog content, I think is going to be difficult. Even if you grow an audience and like sell sponsorships or like yeah, sponsorships, getting featured in places, ad spots in your email newsletter. Like, there's so many different ways to kind of like chop and put this together. But I do think that, like, if most of your income was coming from Google AdSense and coming from ads on your site, I think it might be coming to an end. We have to
The curtain
diversify.
is closing on that. I think affiliate, like straight up affiliate sites too, that don't have some sort of underlying business model, like
Mm-hmm.
also selling courses, digital products. You're a speaker, you're an author. Like there's honestly podcast, there's infinite ways to
Truly.
have an underlying business. And I think that is actually a really positive development, squeezing out people who are just spinning up sites that were only content and maybe they didn't even know much about the subject, but they were just collecting huge affiliate commissions or ad revenue checks on the backs of just moving people around the internet. Very, very odd business model.
And users are becoming we're becoming too smart.
Yeah.
You can't bullshit us anymore. I can't even tell you how many YouTube comments I've gotten on videos that were like, thank you so much for literally just showing me. It was like, I
Yeah.
watched 20 videos and this is the only one that showed me and wasn't like weird and elusive about it or just clickbaity bullshit. And I
One
think
of
we're
my most
just,
popular YouTube videos is literally how to download images from Google Docs. It's the most simple thing. It's not even related to my business, but it's just so specific that it
wait, I have
really
to find
like
that video. How do you
it's
download images
hard.
from Google Docs?
It's hard to download images from Google Docs, which is insane.
I'm going to have to look that up. I have to know how to do it. You're going to get another comment tomorrow. I'm going to be
That's
like, hee,
so
hee,
good.
hee, hee, hi.
I love it. Well, I want to thank you, Mariah, and thank you to everyone who joined us here today. You can go hire Mariah. You can take her courses. You can work with her, learn from her. Please, her YouTube channel's awesome. She's at mariahmagazine.com. Anything else that you want to share with everyone here today?
Um, no, I think that we covered a lot. I feel like if you want to learn more about me, come to my training manual of the internet, my little home base of the internet, mariahmagazine.com. I offer consulting. Basically, I pop in, I pop out. I can help you create an SEO strategy that's sustainable and helps you build momentum over time. I also think that like SEO keyword research is incredible. It's one of the only marketing sources where we can get actual data to be able to see what people are typing in order to find solutions. If you can use one piece of SEO, it's literally use the SEO keyword research data to make decisions on your content, and then you don't have to worry if your content was helpful or not, because you're going to know that it was, because you know that it was created based on what people are searching for. So definitely check out my website. I go into like, I don't know, spiels about a whole bunch of different things. And then check out my YouTube channel. You can just search Mariah Magazine over there and I should show right up. If you're on Instagram, Mariah Magazine, CO. And then I also hang out on Threads. Threads feels really fun and really easy for me. So that's it. That's it.
I
That's all
love
I
it.
got.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing with us today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet to the Right Blogger channel. We'll be going live more frequently, bringing in cool people like the Mariah Magazines of the internet and sharing their expertise with you. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye
See
bye.
ya.